Hello there and welcome to Mother's Mind. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 things that you should know before you decide whether you send your kids back to public school or you start homeschooling them. If you don't know me, my name is Time Ashraf and I help families to balance their life to live as joyful and relaxed as possible. Before I start, I want you to know that I put a timestamp down below so you can skip the video wherever you like. You don't need to watch it all if you don't want it to. I also collected lots of information in a description. I put videos, links, resources, so make sure that you check out the description below after or before the video because it's really helpful. Now, all of us, due to COVID situation, had to face the issue that we had to homeschool our kids in one way or another. But now that September coming on, we all have to make a big decision. And the decision is that whether we send them back to public school or continue homeschooling. Let's crack on and start with tip number 1. And my first tip is to do some research. You need to research your own family needs. You need to know whether you want more time with your kids, to have them all day long with you, or you need them to be in a school so you can concentrate on your own work and on your own studies and whatever busy things you need to do at home. This is a big thing you need to think about, because when you take your kids out of school and you decide to homeschool them, you will get them for 24/7. So make sure to think through this step. You also need to research what's the requirements in your country, what curriculum you need to teach your kids, what you need to be prepared for, how to register, and you also need to research the law. I've put a link below in the description about a video which explains you everything step by step how to register in the UK to become a homeschooling family. And I also linked the new Coronavirus Act 2020 because I think we all need to read that through. Quick disclaimer, I don't have authority to give you legal advice. So if you don't understand the act or if it's making you trouble, you need to ask for help for a professional legal advisor. So for that reason, I also linked below a free legal advice in the UK. You also need to research some basic homeschooling techniques. Homeschooling is a very new perspective, so don't try to bring school into your home. When kids going to public school, all you need to do is just drop them off, pick them up and help them with their homework. However, when you do your homeschooling, you will have way more work to do. You will have to prepare the lessons, you will have to get ready with the curriculum or research the curriculum, you have to assess them, you have to get them ready for exams if they will have some, and so on. But after some time it will get easier, not so overwhelming, especially if you do it the smart way. Tip number 2 is about homeschooling. Who is it for? Because of the extra work you have to do if you choose to homeschool, I would advise you to sit down in peace and think it through. It takes a well-organized person, and it would be really great if you have some support. Of course, if you are a single parent with no support, you can also do homeschooling, but you might find it a bit difficult in some times. When you homeschool your kids, you need to be at least one step ahead of their development. That way, you can help them learn. For example, I have a level 2 English certificate. That means I most probably won't be able to teach English for a teenager. However, you can always build up your knowledge to keep up with your children's learning and be one step ahead of them, so you can continue homeschooling as long as you want. In the other hand, if you send your kids to public school, they will have a qualified teacher for every single lesson they have to learn, so you don't need to know as much yourself. Tip number 3 is flexibility. Public schools have very limited opportunities to be flexible with each and every child. One teacher would have 20 or 30 students in their classroom, so they can't really change the lessons according to one child. However, if you choose to homeschool your kids, you can really adjust the intensity of the lessons according to your kids' abilities. For example, if you have a child who's good at math and loves it a lot, you can give her extra lessons on math, and you can slow down other lessons which she's not so good at. Also, you can adjust the style of your teaching and the learning environment for your kids. You can learn in a park, you can learn in a bus, for example, you can learn in a car, you can learn at home in a kitchen, by cooking, by cleaning. The opportunities are endless. If your child likes pretend play games, you can all pretend, for example, that you are in a shop and you have to pay for the items, so they can learn math through counting the amount of the things they buying, counting the money they paying with. If you want to learn colors through that situation, you can teach them the colors of the stuff they buying, or having a shopping list with only colors on it. So actually the opportunities are endless if you do homeschooling. Another point in flexibility is time. In public school, the kids have to arrive on certain time. They're gonna study whole day long to be picked up afternoon. However, if you choose to homeschool, you can schedule your lessons according to your lifestyle, when your kids willing to learn, when they wake up, what is best for you. A huge thing about homeschooling is that you're going to have your kids for the whole day, which could be really, really great, but also challenging. Tip number 4 is scheduling. In a public school, children have multiple lessons in a day, let's say math, history, PE, English, and they start and end with a harsh line. However, at home, if you choose to homeschool, you can make a smooth transmission, so it's not so difficult for the kids to go from one lesson to the other. Also, homeschooling is more effective than public schooling, because you get to spend 1-to-1 with your child, or 3-to-1 ratio rather than 30-to-1. So that means you really need to spend like 3-4 hours a day with homeschooling, and you're gonna learn the exact same or even more things than what they would learn whole day long in a school. I really advise you to start calendar block scheduling, which is a really useful tool to live a successful and relaxed life. When you start block scheduling, is actually work like an appointment. You put everything in a calendar, what's important for you, and you got to turn up for them. I personally use Google Calendar because it's very easy and free. However, you can use any kind of offline calendar with lots of colorful markers for you. The first thing you have to put in your calendar is the most important thing in your life. For me, that's my family life. So the first thing I would schedule in the calendar would be family time. Then, of course, the kids' studying time. You could schedule anything else which is important in your life. Now, as I mentioned before, I only would block out 3-4 hours per day for studying for the kids, because that's more than enough for them. Make sure to block out some me time as well, because it's really important. You need to have some time for yourself to relax, to do something you really like to do, or to spend on your own personal development. Question of the day: would you like me to do a step-by-step video on how to do scheduling and how to use Google Calendar? If you do, please let me know below. Tip number 5 is about how to structure the lesson. In public school, teachers have to follow a curriculum from beginning to the end, and they have to finish it by the end of the year. So they have limited options on how to teach and what they have to teach. They also have limitations on whether they can bring the class outside of the classroom, or they have to spend most of the time in the classroom. However, if you choose to homeschool your kids, you can be very creative in doing your lesson plans. You can work on their weaknesses and strengths, and you can bring the lesson plan wherever you want it to be. You can go out of the park, you can go to the zoo, you can take it to the shopping center, anywhere you like. You don't really have limitations when it comes to homeschooling. You can adjust the plan however your family needs it. That way your child will learn the best. Young children learn everything really quickly, and every kind of environment helps their development. If you want to teach colors, for example, you just need colorful objects around you. If you want to teach history, you can use books or documentary TV, or you can either do pretend play or art and craft activities. Homeschooling lesson planning varieties are endless. It all comes down to your own creativity and on your own lifestyle. An extra tip for you is, what do you need? Going back to public school could be quite expensive. You will need to buy at least 2 sets of uniforms, 2 sets of PE clothes, some school supplies, and maybe some books to help your kids at home. Some countries require you to buy a whole bundle of school books and a school bag with it. And some countries take money from your kids every single month to be able to take them outdoors for any extra activities. However, if you choose to homeschool, you only need to buy just empty paper and some art and craft supplies. There are lots of resources online available for free. You can use documentary from the TV, you can borrow books from the library, so it can be really cost effective for you. And one more thing is, in a public school, you have to either provide food for your kids or you have to pay for it. When you choose to homeschool, you can just feed them whatever you have at home already, because of course we all have food at home. And the best thing about that you will see exactly what they are eating and how much they are eating, which is really important in a healthy lifestyle. So I hope you find some hopeful information in this video, and please like if you did, and share it with your friends if you know someone who will be benefit from this. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.